Sometimes you find a trail that's off the beaten path that is truly a hidden gem. Trails like these are more than physical paths. They are journeys into the unknown, offering discoveries and experiences that challenge and change us. They take us out of our comfort zone and help us embrace the uncertainty to find the beauty in the most unusual places. It's on these paths we truly learn about ourselves. We encounter obstacles that test our resolve and moments of awe that remind us of the world's vastness and our place within it. We have officially entered Nevada, and we are doing a trail that is called the Bunkerville Choo Choo Trail.
Choo 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 choo.
And so it's supposed to have some mines on it, and it's supposed to have some old train tracks, aka choo choo. So this one is a loop. This is on the flirting with the edge of Gold Butte National Monument here, which is actually managed by the BLM and not the Park Service. So it's kind of an interesting little area. We've never explored it, and so we're super excited to try it. Right?
Yep.
He's super excited. He's super hot, so he's feeling like he's melting.
It's hot. Sorry, it's 98 degrees out there.
As you can see, this trail looks like there's a whole lot of nothing out here. But really, it's a trail of mystery that has it hidden behind every corner. As you start this trail, you'll begin to work your way up into the foothills of the mountains in front of you. And you may think all the secrets are hidden in those mountains, but you'd be wrong. But, however, to get to those secrets, you have to survive some pretty epic washboards. Having the great debate, which if I've showed you any of the footage at this point, I'm guessing I have, it was very bouncy. And the question is it better slow? Or is it better fast?
Don't know.
But we don't have any conclusion.
We don't.
I think the bed likes it slow,
Yes,
but our
like
bodies
Bailey's
like it
bed.
fast.
I don't know. It's
I felt less bouncy being fast. Like we finally hit a smoother section here, but that rough, the beginning part, holy crap, is it
bumpy.
rough? It is so
Definitely
bumpy. Yeah, so this is supposed to be a 2 trail, so we're not expecting too much,
It's very bumpy. Take your time.
but it is bouncy.
Very
So hard.
washboardy.
But we're seeing some really cool vegetation right now. We got some Joshua trees and some of the yuccas that grow like trees. I can't remember what they're called, but I'm gonna turn around.
Yucca trees.
Yeah, they're just cool. Before you know it, you will be out of that huge bumpy section at the beginning of the trail. As you leave this section behind, you'll eventually get to do some hill climbing, which will lead you to some spectacular views. Surprised by this, but there are a ton of Joshua trees everywhere. I've never seen so many Joshua trees, and if you want to see Joshua trees, this is the trail for you. It's like a forest of Joshua trees. Then they're all look really healthy, and they're all really cool shaped. They're just unique. So I highly recommend it so far, just for the giant Joshua tree forest. In all honesty, this is probably one of my favorite sections of the trails is because of all these Joshua trees. From what I could find online, it's possible that this area actually has more Joshua trees in it than actual Joshua Tree National Park. Now, is that a rumor or not? We don't know. But by the number we saw, I'd believe it. The first mine site that we're going to be visiting is called Key West Mine. And now, I don't know what they mined here, but our speculation is probably silver, since there was a big silver boom near the St. George and Mesquite area back in the day. So that's what we're assuming. But I will be doing some research when we get back home to see if that is true or not. So we are almost there, so we'll show you what we find. On the site, and so far we've seen some like old concrete structures that are left. We found the mine hole where they did all the mining, but it's pretty much a lot of tailings and concrete structures around. But you know, it's amazing where they found where to mine up here. But I'm gonna go take a look, and we'll look at this one we drove by to see quite make out what it might have been. But, you know, it's hard to say. Most likely the bigger structures were either bunkhouses or they were communal areas. Is typically what we found on most of these old mine sites, especially the ones with concrete bases. So let's take a look at this one and see if we can figure it out. Well, this was obviously a pit.
After we got home, I did some digging and found this information about the mine. Around 1896, copper ore was discovered by Scott Allen, a Cherokee, at what would become the Key West mine. From 1900 until 1903, the Key West property was explored for copper and nickel. Small amounts of platinum were also discovered during this time. A carload of ore was shipped by the Nevada Copper and Nickel Company in 1903, and additional shipments were made in 1908 and 1916 until the mine closed. The mine reopened briefly in 1929 and yielded 2,000 tons of copper-nickel ore, but eventually it closed again. Other attempts in 1936 and the early 1950s were attempted, but with little success, and the mine has remained idle since. After exploring around the mine for a while, we decided it was time to hit the trail to visit some of the other mining sites. As we neared the other mining site, the trail began to narrow quite considerably, and the trail began to have some drop-offs to one side. This wasn't anything that we were concerned about just because we're from Colorado and we're used to having steep drop-offs. But before we knew it, we hit an obstacle in the road that we didn't expect.
You can see them. It's kind of crazy. What are they?
Oh, man. Zoom in and get a picture.
As far as I can zoom in.
I'm going to turn sideways for you.
They're coming out of that hole. This is the Bunkerville Mine Eastern site. And so there were some really weird birds that I've never seen before. We thought that they were kind of interesting. There's some old mining stuff down below, but now we're kind of walking up to the main tailings pile because there's a spot to turn the truck around. This road just dead ends, so we didn't want to risk not turning it around.
This mining site is located a little bit northeast of the Key West site. And I'm sure you are not surprised that they also were mining similar material. Materials found here include cobalt, nickel, chromium, copper, and platinum. No mining is occurring today, just inhabited by birds. A little further down the road, we found an area that we shouldn't have went up and had to back down.
Yeah, like that. Now turn where your butt goes that way. Now pull forward and go driver. Right there, that gives you an angle to back down. Okay. Yeah, I'll walk down. I'll figure it out. We go up to this other mine we saw on the side of the road. And then the truck started getting super tippy, so we decided to back down. Sometimes you back down, and everyone up and saw it, and it's a big giant hole, but we finally got the truck down, had to back it up. You know, it was about 16 degrees sideways at one point, so now I get to work my butt down the hill after I got the truck position. So, here we go.
After all of us getting back into the truck, we continued down the road to get closer to the Choo Choo. But little did we know it, we were going to see some amazing things along the way.
So this is called the Bunkerville Guzzler, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Like, so strange.
Constructed sportsman's dollars to benefit wildlife. Please report any vandalism maintenance needs.
What?
To the Nevada Department of Wildlife.
It must be for
water, for animals.
For animals. Huh. Why would you put barbed wire around it?
No.
It's kind of strange.
Water in this. It goes somewhere, obviously. See how it goes down? around and it goes to like the thing. Water goes somewhere, Mom. That's why I have water bladder in. Keep off it.
Interesting.
Water goes slow. When it rains, flows in and flows down.
Yeah, I've never seen one before.
Before you know it, the vast openness around you begins to narrow rather quickly as you approach the canyon. Besides the spectacular geology that you're about to see, you also get to go over one of the few obstacles on this trail. Plus, there's also some seeps to look at if you desire.
Slow off of it. You're good there. Now you can start turning driver. So slow off of it right there. And now you driver. I'm sorry, passenger, I lied to you. Passenger. This went through. It was super unexpected and super cool. I didn't know we were going to get to go through something like that, so that was really nice.
After conquering that obstacle, we wondered what lay ahead, but soon the next obstacle was around the corner. As we entered into another forest of Joshua trees, we could see the famous hill climb coming up ahead. We've done some pretty steep hill climbs in the past, but we wondered how steep this hill climb was actually going to be. Would we need to be in 4 low? Would we need 4 high? Would we need lockers? We didn't know, but it did look a little bit more formidable than we planned.
12 degrees, that's it.
Mom, what if it's under your pant thing?
Well,
I think it's in the triangle. I don't know.
I don't think it's in the triangle.
Why would you think it went back here? I didn't know.
No, the triangle, like next to the seat. It's probably a big one or a
It was
little
a big one.
Oh, then he probably flew out.
I think he flew out.
I don't know where he would have went to. I didn't see him.
I saw him go that way. So, either in the long, steep climb.
Don't grasshoppers
Oh, no.
hop borders anytime?
They can, but that's actually physically hop that far. I don't know. Which part should I go? Left or right?
Whichever you feeling like.
14. Does it matter?
14 degrees.
16.
And Dad, if
Uh,
we find it,
16,
18, 19, 20.
They said it was steep.
that was scary though when you said that.
20.
Nothing but sky.
It's really steep. 21. 22. Oop, 22, 23. You didn't get any recordings of it.
So clear. Nothing but sky. They can
Mom.
hear us, so.
Are you keeping in that scream part?
Oh no, buddy. Alright, that was it. Steep climb.
Steep climb, Dane.
That's what makes it a 2.
Mom,
I think it's a
better
canyon
not
back there.
open that.
As you can see, this hill looks like nothing on camera. But after watching it in real time, you know that this hill starts at about 16 degrees going up and ends at 23 towards the top. Now, we've been on steeper climbs before, so this wasn't really too major of a deal, but the rock is loose, and as you can see, sometimes things can be deceiving. Our victory was short-lived because something spectacular just happened.
Oh, look.
Oh my god, it's Golden Eagle, Everett.
Sweet to see it.
As we drove to our next destination on the trail, we were truly in awe of that eagle that we saw. It really reminds you of your place in the world, and everything out here in the desert has a purpose. But before we knew it, we were at our next destination, which is pretty neat too.
Made it to the keyhole, so we're gonna take a look at that. But so far the trail's been really good and we've enjoyed it so far. So we've got to see a lot of wildlife we normally even get to see, like those eagles are super cool. But so now we're just taking this tiny little walk to the keyhole.
Once you park in the parking area, the hike to the keyhole is very short. It is rather loose, so you'll want to watch your footing if you are not sure-footed. But before you know it, you will be at the very top and you'll be able to see both directions through the keyhole. Now, arguably, this is actually probably considered an arch and not a keyhole, but semantics, am I right?
It's all dark and shadowy.
It is.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice.
Just a short distance from the keyhole, you'll finally get to see where this trail gets its name from. And before you know it, you are at the Bunkerville Choo Choo.
Finally made it to what is called the Bunkerville Choo Choo. And it's actually a leftover train. So it's kind of cool.
And of course, with any good piece of history, there is an amazing story to go along with it. As you know, ranching and farming in the desert of southern Nevada isn't easy. And those who chose to grow crops and run livestock in this unforgiving landscape can't rely solely on Mother Nature to provide water. Well, back in the 1960s and early 70s, Bunkerville resident Melbourne Jensen looked over a bunch of old mining equipment and junk that had been brought in for the Key West mine, that mine that we saw earlier. When he saw the old train car that had been sitting on a lot across from the cement plant, he got an idea. The train car consisted of a firebox for the coal to keep the fire burning and a tank that supplied water for the steam. And by golly, it was just what he needed to bring the water down from Hen Spring high up on Bunkerville Mountain. The problem was how to get this huge steel behemoth from the valley floor near Bunkerville, where it was, up to the mountain near the spring. Well, of course, he contacted his good friend Paul, and the two of them began planning. They decided to use Paul's big Caterpillar D8 dozer. They put the train car on poles and then drug it up the road and then up the wash. No one really remembers how long it took, but rumors says it was either a couple days or a couple weeks. Once they got it up there, that is where it has been sitting until this day. Well, how did they get water to it now that the train car was there? Well, since the terrain was so rugged from the mouth of the spring, plastic pipe that was black, you probably remember seeing some of that, was laid on top of the ground to the place where it was buried and ran to the tank several miles further down. The whole run runs about 5 miles. So how does this actually function? The spring water fills the tank, and then the water siphons out the bottom into the tires underneath. The tires become a trough for the cattle and the wildlife. The problem is that someone vandalized the tires, so those will need to be fixed for proper operation. Now that's a pretty good story, don't you think? As we leave the Choo Choo behind, we were reminded that this adventure was truly a journey into the unknown. We didn't know what obstacles we would face or what amazing things we would see, but the journey was definitely well worth it. Remember, there's beauty in the unexpected.